We still have a few things that are still growing and a few other things that we need to harvest still. But it is time to get this garden ready for the winter. Today, I'm going to take you through the process of what we do to prepare a garden for winter and set it up for a successful growing season. We are so lucky that we haven't had any snow yet. And even though today is a very windy and cloudy day, we definitely need to get this garden cleaned up. I don't like to wait till November to do this, but for the last 2 weeks, the rest of my crew has been battling colds. So here we are now, ready to get some work done. This is a very ambitious goal for today, but what we are trying to do is take care of these two beds over here. We need to rip out some of these dead plants, and we are going to be planting garlic in these two beds. So we need to prepare those for planting garlic. We also need to remove all these tomato vines, and we also need to take care of this arch over here. This is what used to be our green bean bed, and now we have all these plants that we need to pull out. So the boys and I are going to get started on this bed, and then we have the bed behind me that we also need to clear out. Hey Nico, can you please push the wheelbarrow this way? So I thought about leaving these the roots of these plants and just cutting them at the base, because I know that it can be beneficial for the soil to leave the roots to decompose. But I decided against it because we are going to be planting garlic in this bed. It's going to be a pain to go through this, and as I'm digging up the soil to put the garlic in, I'm just gonna run into a lot of roots. So this is, I think, a better solution. One of our goals is to redo the whole chicken coop, chicken run situation, because as you can see, it is tricky and we don't have a good way to get in and for the chickens to come out. We are letting the chickens out for the season, and that is so exciting. Yeah, I encourage them to come over here on this bed. They're going to help us till these beds.
Wait, what if I say these two?
Those are the things that I'm not.
This bed is covered with chamomile plants growing everywhere. It's like a thick mat, and we just need to remove all this because we are going to use this bed also to grow some garlic. We also grew green beans here, but the chamomile took over. So that's what we're going to be working on next. We were able to finish one of the beds, and now we're going to start working on this one here. Glenn is taking this compost over to the bed that we are preparing for planting garlic. This is taking a lot longer than we thought, but we are very grateful that this bed is ready for planting. We have a slight rain going on right now. Hopefully it'll dissipate because we have so much work to do. The next thing Nico and I are going to work on is taking down these tomato vines from the cattle panel trellis. And I also see a lot of these tomatoes that never ripened and now are falling off the vines. And we want to make sure we collect those because we don't want a whole bunch of tomato plants growing here next season. We are getting rained on right now. So we are trying to get done as fast as we can and as much as we can. I don't think we're going to be able to do all of it. We're going to see if it starts raining more. I think we're just going to have to be done for the day. But we'll see what we can do. It is so windy, so since we are a little bit wet, the wind does not feel good. While Nico and I are working on the tomato plants, Glenn and Gabriel are going to be removing the green bean vines from this cattle panel trellis. And the goal is to be able to remove the trellis. We just did it for this season. We knew it wasn't going to be permanent. But now that the blackberry plant kind of got intertwined in it, I am hoping we can remove it without causing any damage to the blackberries. I don't know how long we're going to be doing this because the rain is just picking up and we are getting pretty soaked. As we are pulling these tomato plants out, we also have to pull out these celery plants. We're just not going to eat them. They already got a little bit gross because they went through a frost. We're just going to give these to the chickens, but we still have carrots in this bed that need to be harvested, and I am seeing that, and they look amazing. I don't know if we're going to be able to get to do that today, but we are making some good progress here. We are almost finished clearing out all these tomato plants. Looks like the rain is moving in a different direction, so we're going to be able to keep working for a little bit more. Yeah, we don't want to break these because these ones are actually the canes that are going to be fruiting next year. And we need to figure out what we're going to do. I think they need some kind of support because they are just so tall. So that's another project for another day. This process of removing all these twine that I used for trellising my tomato plants is actually quite annoying. So I am hoping that next year I'm going to find a different solution for this. I have seen that some people use something that's kind of like some kind of twisty tie thing, and I'm going to look into those. Anything that is reusable is always a win for me, and I want to do something that is probably not going to take as long also when I have to tie them, but also something that is going to be reusable and it's not going to create all this waste. All right, so they are almost finished with this over here, and Glenn and Gabriel are going to move the cattle panel trellis away from here.
You need to carefully grab it by the end outside. Careful. With the plant. Yeah. Yep, yep, there you go. Watch out for the tree.
This looks amazing. We did it. We were able to clean out all those tomatoes. Whoops. Except the ones back there. I totally forgot about those. Oh man, I thought we were done.
Oh, that's actually putting the wheelbarrow.
That's it. They're all in the corner. Pass that carefully. It's not your way, dude. Let's go.
Now we are finished with all the tomato plants. Glenn, Gabriel, and Nico cleaned out that whole area, and then they removed the cattle panel trellis from that spot because that is not where we want it next year. The more we can do now in the fall, the better, because it is just a lot of work otherwise later in the spring when we're trying to do so many other projects as well. We were able to clean out all the tomato plants, remove the trellis from the berry patch, and we were able to get the beds ready for planting garlic. It is the next day. We couldn't get to the garlic planting yesterday, but we will today. And I have already gone ahead and made 4 rows over here where I'm going to be planting the garlic. I have spaced each row about 6 inches apart, and I attempted to make each row about 2 inches deep as well. And I have my garlic right here. I will be planting garlic from MI Gardener. That's what I used last year, and I really enjoyed the garlic that we got from here last year, and everything worked out well. But I also have some garlic that I am using from the garlic that we harvested this year. I am excited because these garlic cloves look amazing, and these are the ones that I saved from our harvest earlier this year. So I have a combination of soft neck varieties and hard neck varieties, and I'm going to fill out this entire bed. My original plan was to have 2 beds filled with garlic, but I think I'm not going to need to do that. I think everything is going to fit here, so we'll see. I'm going to go ahead and use some of this Trifecta Plus, and I'm going to put it all along each of the rows here, and this is going to keep our garlic well fed throughout its growing season. It is very chilly today, so I do not want to be out here longer than I have to. So I'm going to try to get this done in under an hour. I have Gabriel behind the camera, and whenever he puts the camera down, he is going to help me so we can get this done as fast as possible. So let's get started with this planting. This season, I'm going to attempt to keep my different varieties separate so that I actually know what they are. Last year I tried, then my system got all confused and the different sticks that I had got moved, but now I think I have a better solution for that. As I'm planting these, and I just kind of like put my finger in there to make a small hole, sometimes I can feel that there is just a huge hole in the ground. And unfortunately, that is because we have had a lot of moles. This past season, we've dealt with so many of those. And I think they just have an entire city under this bed. That's terrifying to me. So hopefully these garlics will be okay. These are the garlic cloves that I saved. These are so perfect and huge. I am so excited about these. The ones that I'm planting right now are a hardneck variety. I also saved some soft necks, but right now I'm planting all the hardneck varieties on this side of the bed, and then I'm going to plant the soft necks on the other side of the bed. We are down to the very last variety right here. Well, actually, I don't know what variety this is because these are the ones that we saved from our garlic this season, but these are the soft neck variety, so we are going to put them here towards the end of this row here, and with that we will have all of our garlic planted. So now I'm just going over each of the rows, and I'm just covering up the garlic bulbs. After this, we still have to cover these with some mulch. What we're using right now is going to be pine shavings, which is what we did last year because I don't have any leaves or any other material that I could use as mulch, like straw or anything. So I'm just going to use the pine shavings, and we're going to cover this entire bed with the shavings. It is very windy today again, so we're trying to be careful, and I don't want to just pick up the whole bag and let this drop because it's going to fly everywhere. We are on to day 3 trying to get this garden ready for winter. The main focus for today is getting these 2 beds ready for the spring. So this bed this year has been a tomato bed, and then later on in the season we added this section where I have some beets. But this, for next season, this entire row or this entire bed is going to be used for tomatoes. And then also where Glenn is working back there, that we're going to create a new tomato bed back there. We had all the space in the back this past year that wasn't used very well. We had our volunteer tomatoes and volunteer pumpkins that grew back there, which was fine. But next year we want to make use of that space a little bit better. So that is our plan today. It is quite a bit of work, so I'm hoping we're going to be done. But with that, we are hoping to take a break from the garden, really, because our days are getting colder, and frankly, at least for me, it is not fun to be out here when it is just this cold. But at least the sun is out, so that helps a lot. One of the first things we need to do is get rid of this raised bed right here. So we're going to move that, and so in order to do that, Glenn needs to empty out that raised bed. You may not often see me doing these kinds of things, and that's mainly because it's difficult to film myself as I do the work. But believe it or not, I do stuff like this every once in a while. Glenn and Gabriel do most of the work, most of the heavy work, but whenever my help is needed, I also do this kind of work. Underneath this raised bed, we had some hardware cloth, which was actually really effective in keeping moles and voles away from that bed. And now it's something that we need to remove because we don't really want it for the tomatoes. We found another one of these in an area that we had forgotten about from our first season, and we wanted to remove it because we can't plant tomatoes when we have that hardware cloth, because we need to plant tomatoes really deep. But the problem that we're running up against is that we put some irrigation lines on top of the hardwire mesh. This irrigation line is over the hardwire cloth, and see if we can remove it without disturbing the irrigation lines. We are trying to avoid having to cut the hardwire cloth because frankly we don't have the right tools for it. I think there's a way that we can pull it from under the irrigation system there. We'll see. All right, so we found the end, and I think we are going to be able to pull it out without damaging the irrigation system there. Yes, awesome. That's done. We are making some good progress over here in this new bed. We are using our sunflower stalks over here to kind of use as borders. They're not completely straight, but we're doing our best, knowing that it's not perfect. We don't use borders for our in-ground beds. It is also a little bit challenging to keep the soil separate from the wood chips in the path. Then we need to do some harvesting in this bed so that we can get this bed ready as well. These carrots, I think, are going to be huge. I hope they're not cracked. Ooh, I see a yellow one coming up. Oh my gosh. Wow. Look at this. This is huge and absolutely deformed. So I don't see any damage. It's just very misshapen, which is totally fine. So as I was pulling it out at first, I thought it looked like a potato because it just looked so fat. Oh, what? Yeah, this is huge. Okay, again, I don't see any damage. They're just very misshapen right now. Okay, this was much better. So I have this whole row over here to harvest. I thought I did a pretty good job thinning these out, but these little ones that were growing very close together let me know that I probably missed a few. Look at this other one. Again, these look like potatoes. That's crazy. They didn't grow necessarily super long, but they were just so fat and round. Oh, here we go. Some more normal looking one. Oh, nice. These are nice.
My bottom's already broken. Oh, okay.
Glenn and Gabriel are working on removing those cattle panels because in the spring, like I said before, we are extending this bed. The cattle panel needs to be longer. The bed is already 18 feet long, which is what we want, but the cattle panel wasn't long enough because we just added those 8 feet later in the season. It's going to help me harvest right in between the cattle panels there, and it's going to help me be able to clean out everything from there. We have some celery that needs to be removed as well. So once we clear out this bed, we're going to be able to I think we're going to need to remove the drip irrigation lines, and then we're going to be able to put some of the chicken compost over this bed and that bed as well. That is a massive plant, and I'm hoping the chickens are going to enjoy those. And once again, we learned the lesson not to plant too many celeries. We just don't consume a lot of it. And we don't just want to cut at the base of the plant because it will continue to grow some side shoots, and that's not helpful because we actually want to remove the plant completely. And even if we leave the root system in there, we don't want it there next season when we are trying to plant the tomatoes. Ooh, that's a big one that you got, Glenn. Holy cow, that's a really big one.
Not too bad that I didn't get up close.
Looks good. Oh, what a difference it makes to be harvesting without the cattle panel here. We can actually like see what we're doing and get really up close. All right, some really good ones. I think I don't have a lot of issues with deformed carrots with the orange ones. It's mostly with the yellow ones. And I think next year, if I'm going to grow carrots, I think I want to just stick to one variety. And so far, the Danvers half long have been the best ones that we have grown. And I think I'm okay with that. I decided to keep these beets over here. I harvested some beets that were pretty good size, but there's a lot in here that can still grow a little bit more. And I'm going to leave those there, even though this entire bed is going to be a tomato bed. And we want to get these 2 tomato beds ready by putting some chicken manure on top of it. But we're just going to not put some on top of this part yet. We'll probably do it maybe later in the season once I harvest these. So along with the compost that is in the chicken run, we decided to use this chicken manure that is in our chicken coop, and it is loaded with poop and some wood shavings. This is going to be perfect to throw on top of the beds right now because it will decompose over the next few months. So we dumped that tray of chicken poo and some of its bedding on this bed over here. And so we're going to just kind of spread it out all throughout the bed. Now, just a disclaimer, this that we're doing right now, we've never done before. It's something that we are trying this year. So this is actually the first year that we are harvesting some of the soil from their run. We are also, trying this thing where we put some of this fresh chicken poop on the bed to see how it works. If you have done something like this, let me know in the comments. It would be really good to know and hear your experience. Drop some of your knowledge and wisdom in the comments. I would really appreciate it. I am over here by the raspberry bed, and it looks like these are done for the season. These are the Joan J variety, and these are primocane. Now keep in mind that we just planted these in the spring this year, and so I've never had to overwinter them. Some people say to cut all the canes at the base during this time of the year. Other people say cut them in the spring or prune them in the spring, and other people say don't. And other people say leave some and prune some. So I am confused about what to do with these. And if you have any suggestions, please let me know, because as it is right now, like I'm just confused and kind of overwhelmed about what to do with this bed. But also in this bed, I still have some carrots that I need to harvest. We harvested a lot of carrots today. I am not going to harvest these today because we have plenty of carrots, and I think these carrots can stay in this bed for a few more weeks still. But I wanted to show you what we are doing this year to get our garden ready for the winter and prepare it for the spring season. So we got a lot of cleaning done in the last few days. We got our garlic planted and we got our tomato beds prepared for next year. So we are excited. We are calling it done for now. But thank you so much for joining us as we are preparing our garden for the winter. And I will see you next time.